All right, Richard and Kayla, can you all hear us? We're going to get started.
Yes, I can.
Let me see, I can't hear you. Okay, Richard, can you speak one more time and let me see if I can hear you? Okay.
I
All
can.
right.
Yeah. Kayla, are you good? You're on mute.
Well, we'll give Kayla some time. Maybe she stepped out.
Okay.
All right. I think Rose and Leslie, are they still may be out there? Okay. Okay.
They needed direction, they don't know number.
Okay.
Those are red line, it doesn't show, it doesn't display the number.
Okay.
Those them.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being here. As I was saying earlier, my name is Grace Ann Martin. So I've been the one that has been emailing you a lot about this meeting. I'm sorry there has been so much back and forth about this meeting. We just wanted to make sure that with all the wintry weather that y'all remain safe while traveling around. I thought before we actually get into our agenda items today, that we could go around and introduce ourselves. So we wanted to have these regional meetings. We've been able to do them last year in Charleston, Greenville, and then Horry County, and we found them to be really beneficial because a lot of y'all don't get to be in the same room, but you're doing very similar things. And so we wanted to first kind of allow this to be a chance for you to get to know kind of our staff a little bit more, get to have some updates more often than just at our annual workshop, as well as get to have you share with us some of the things that you're dealing with throughout your counties and cities, and then also see that you're not alone in those struggles, because there are a lot of people who are kind of going through the same things. So with that being said, I was going to maybe have Richard and Kayla quickly introduce themselves. They unfortunately were not able to make it. So Richard, do you want to just say who you are and what program areas you cover, and then we can have Kayla join us.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Richard Chesley. I manage the Office of Solid Waste Reduction and Recycling. I think I know most of you or have met most of you. I'm delighted and happy, so happy that you joined us this morning and look forward to working with you. We do a variety of things, outreach education, technical assistance, and grant funding, and we are non-regulatory. So I could go into more depth, but you're going to hear about all kinds of things as we go on anyway. But that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Richard. All right, Kayla.
Hey everyone, my name is Kayla Meyer. I'm kind of a newer addition to the office. I started back in August, but I'm really happy to be part of the team, and I'm fortunate that I can't be there with you all today. So I cover two programs. First one is Take Action SC. That's an environmental education outreach campaign where we go into K through 12 schools and teach them about recycling and reducing waste. We have educators across the state, and we do have a curriculum that's correlated to the state standards as well, with lessons that the teachers can also be trained in with our teacher workshops. And then the second program that I manage is Be Battery Smart. And that is a program that educates residents about the dangers of lithium-ion batteries and recycling batteries properly to ensure that everyone stays safe.
All right, thank you, Kayla. And we do have two other folks, Greg Glint, who is our graphic designer. So if you have done a lot of grant work, you've probably coordinated with him in the past. And then Savannah Murray was supposed to be here today, but she woke up sick this morning, but she is our Don't Waste Food South Carolina coordinator. So she focuses more on trying to prevent food waste from getting into landfill, since that's the number one thing from a residential standpoint that we put in put in our trash. So if you have any questions for her, we can definitely get you connected. But as I said, I'm Grace Ann, and I am our Recycle Right SC coordinator. So essentially, I serve as a liaison with your offices and our office to make sure that you have the resources that you need to get things up and running, or if you need a brainstorming partner, I'm here. And I am also right now kind of the one that's dealing with our solid waste grant. So if you have any questions on that, I can be the one to cover that for this point in time. And then the other program that I cover is our Smart Business Recycling program. And with that program, we work with businesses around the state in kind of a two-part manner. One is to try to get them to provide us with their recycling data, because we have an annual report that we send out to the public every year, that actually uses what recycling numbers you collect through the year, as well as what businesses provide. But they are not required to give us data. So that's why we work with them, is to try to see if they would allow that. And then we also work with them to try to help them with implementing recycling. So we get them connected to different types of vendors, or go through their process line and see where there's some waste reduction that could occur. I'll pass it to Anna Grace. So we have two Graces in the office. We keep Richard on his toes, but this is Anna Grace.
Yes, so I deal with recycling within our buildings and our neighboring buildings. I also, we're just starting or restarting green government, which is very similar.
Sure, Woody.
All right, so I'm Woody Barnes, and I've been with DES for a little over 20, well, DES, a little over 20 years. I deal mostly with tires, waste tire recycling, grants for waste tires, and then also the used oil program. So the used oil grant is another one of the hats that I wear. And then generally, I don't know, because I guess I've been around for a long time, I get called on for a lot of historical type data, how did we used to do it 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that kind of thing. So I've been involved with regulations development. So I do a little bit of that still. And then electronics recycling. I wrote the electronics. And so, see a lot of changes through years. And so, yeah, a little bit of a jack of all trades, I guess you'd say.
And we are one person that we that you're probably wondering, where is she? Stephanie Vandiver, who a lot of y'all, if you have done with grants, has been doing that for many years, actually retired at the beginning of this year. So we do not currently have a grants coordinator. We are going to be hopefully trying to hire for a position soon. We're just trying to get all that approved internally. But as of right now, Woody is doing kind of the used oil and waste tire grants. I'm doing the solid waste grants. And then if you have questions for like colleges and universities, Savannah covers that. And then if you have any schools reach out to you wanting to have grants, Kayla through that Take Action SC program also is covering that grant. So just wanted to, since we don't have her face anymore on our team, I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. But now we're going to move it to y'all and have you kind of introduce yourself, as well as kind of what your role is and where you work. And then we'll get into more of the nitty-gritty of your individual roles a little bit later.
I'm Rose Gay. I'm the recycling coordinator for just.
Stephen Williams. I'm the collection recycling manager here at York.
I'm Thomas Bondor. I'm the landfill supervisor in Chester County.
Josh Bell, I work on a gift on for solid waste in Lancaster County. I'm Sonny Connor, deputy public works for Lancaster County. Victor Bay on solid waste inspecting the DES out of Florida.
Allison Rodman, sustainability program manager for some. To the Kettlewell Public Works town board. Beth Ann Scruggs, grant specialist in Rockville.
Brian Daniel, Public Works Administrator, City of Rockville.
Tim Sylvester, sanitation supervisor, City of Rockville.
And then we have some folks in the back.
David Molinax, assistant supervisor for this building, pretty much day-to-day operations here. Beth, assistant supervisor here at York County, for collection and recycling and, deal with most of the collections.
Leslie Hatchell, recycling educator / coordinator.
And thank you so much, York County, for letting us all be here today. We wanted to first kind of start off the day with giving some updates from our office, and then you'll stop hearing from us, and we want to hear from you. And then just kind of let y'all know, if you do need the bathroom, Leslie, you were saying the women's is down the hallway and the men's is to the left. It's to the right. Sorry, I pointed to the right. Follow my hands. It's to the right. But we will then, after we're kind of done discussing, we're going to be able to have a little bit of a tour of the place and a presentation from the York County team. And then I did want to give folks a heads up. We do have the ability to have lunch together afterwards, kind of on your own nickel. But that we had to move it from the Garden Cafe, and we moved it to a place called Town Tavern. Is that Town Tavern? So if y'all would like to join us for that, we have some tables reserved. But with that said, so I wanted to open the floor to Richard to start giving some updates for our office, as well as Woody, Anna Grace, and I have some that we were also going to share. So Richard, I'll let you start, and then we can kind of go from there.
Okie dokie. Is my mic on? I can't tell now.
Yes, you're on. We can
Oh,
hear
good.
you.
Good. Good morning again, everyone. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm so happy that, and appreciate y'all being here. A couple things I'd like to talk about to let you know what's going on. We're in the final days of completing the municipal solid waste characterization study with our consultant from MSW Consultants, in fact, out of Orlando, Florida. I sent final edits or suggestions, recommendations to the vendor last week. It will give us a nice breakdown of what is comprised in our waste. We'll go into much more detail about this when we'll send you a copy and give key takeaways to you before we release it to the media / public. But anyway, it gives us a nice breakdown, and visited various sites, not only class 3, which is MSW, but also class 2. I will tell you, unsurprisingly, it confirmed a lot of things we already knew or somewhat had figured out. Food waste, organics is number 1 by far, and food waste is number 1 in organic, more than 80%, but food waste is the number 1 item that's going in our organics, the number 1 category, food waste, the number 1 item, commodity going into our landfills, more than about 26, well, more than 26%. So we had that going on. Again, we throw away more than $90 million in this. It's estimated in recyclables that items that could have been recycled, we throw away, and that's the estimated value. We spend more than $20 million paying to throw those items away. So that's a double whammy, if you will. Lots of key takeaways like that. Tires is one of the times not truly an issue. They did not see many or hardly any tires in the different facilities they visited or we visited. I could go on, but I'll be glad to answer any questions. But the study will be done in the next, I hope, week or two. Again, we'll send you the study and some key takeaways to you before it's released, and feel free to get back with me or anyone in the staff to answer any of your questions, or what does this mean, things like that. So that study is going to be tied in perfectly. An RFP was just awarded for a new state plan, and Sally is Sally going to be on the call? Grace Ann, I'm sorry.
I don't know if she is on the call.
Okay, well,
I can see if I can add her.
what Sally Williams, who manages the reg and reporting section, she's the lead on the new MSW plan. Work will begin on that, I assume, in a couple months because it takes a while. It has been awarded, but takes a while to get going. I'm not exactly sure of the timeline, but the MSW study will be tied in perfectly. It's essential information tied in perfectly to the plan. We have gotten tentative approval to do one more RFP. And by the way, all of this is with the EPA SWIFR funding that we're using to get this done. The RFP is going to be a more detailed focus on food waste, since we confirmed what, again, is number one, going to landfill. We're going to be looking at if we get EPA to sign off on this, and I'm hoping I'll hear today, it will be a quick study. We're talking about 2 months at most. So we'll have it this summer of infrastructure, a better look at the amount of food waste we're generating and disposing of, cost, things like that, and then most importantly, in my mind, recommendations of what we can do to move forward. So food waste is an absolute priority of the office. We got to do better. There's going to be an issue with capacity, landfill capacity, here in the next 5 years or so. So just looking ahead in the big picture, if it's the number one item, we have to address it. So we're going to do all we can. And as part of that, as some of you probably heard, or most of you probably heard, I should say, and don't quite understand what I'm talking about, we're trying to put together for the past 2 years, what we call a hub and spoke grant. And it did not go out in the latest grant program or grant release about all the grants available. That hub and spoke will be a larger grant. We have set aside money for the past couple of years focused on any commodity, and that's where we'll have a probably larger county be a hub, and then the smaller counties that may be able not to do or collect certain things because they don't have enough or whatever will be able to be a spoke and then get things to the hub. Tentatively right now, the hub and spoke will be funding for the hub to help with infrastructure, et cetera. We know this is a big ask because we can't pay for everything, but spokes will also be the plan is to be given grant funding for collection, transportation, that type of thing to make this work. Again, it can be any commodity. I would say, with the exception of tires, because that's a different fund with the $2 fee on tires. But my ultimate point is, unsurprisingly, food waste. Why Don't Waste Food campaign focuses on prevention and donation, which is also part of prevention. But we'll be focusing on how to manage the food waste to going to the landfill with the goal of diverting it. And turning it into a valuable product. So that will be the priority of those hub and spoke grants. And again, at the end of this, if anybody has any questions or whatever, be delighted to answer. Other than that, we're looking for to replace Stephanie. We miss her dearly. She's been here forever like me, but she's gone and retired, and I'm nothing but happy for her. We'll be posting a position, I hope, we'll be posting that position in the next month or so. It just takes forever when you work at a state agency sometimes to get things posted. I'm trying. Woody will talk about the other programs, and Kayla, and of course, if Savannah ends up, if she can get on the call, she'll be talking about Don't Waste Food. We do encourage you, and Grace Ann will talk about this a little bit. We do encourage you. We really want you to link to our programs as much as possible. Even if you're not using the programs, please link to our website, particularly like the Be Battery Smart or the Recycle Here SC app. You can simply do a box on your website with some information, basic couple sentences, and learn more about battery safety or whatever, and link to us. We really want you to tie in to a couple of links in particular to help get the word out. we're always trying to raise awareness of recycling and to reduce contamination, et cetera. Grace Ann, I could go on, and I did call you by your right name, and I know Anna Grace is here, but anyway, and Savannah Grace isn't. But anyway, that's it. Is there anything that I missed that you wanted?
No, I think that covered everything, Richard. I think just to follow up on the hub and spoke, so we did have our grants for fiscal year 2027 have opened up, and so they are due April 3rd, which is a Friday, by 5 p.m. We did just have a grant virtual webinar to kind of cover the basis of applying for those grants, and then this Thursday, so February 19th, we're going to be having another virtual webinar that's focused on the hub and spoke program that Richard was talking about. So we are hoping, as he was saying, to release some money in the future to do like a larger, more competitive grant that would be for setting up hubs. But that is something that's going to be later this year that we're deciding. We just have to kind of do some wordsmithing on our side. And we also wanted folks to kind of be able to get more of an idea of what it would look like, specifically if you were to focus on composting, what it would look like to set up composting in your area. And so Greenville County, Horry, and Charleston are going to be giving some presentations this Thursday to talk about kind of the origin of their programs. And we'll also have some organics companies who are going to be on the call. So if you have any like logistic questions, they will be there to answer those. So that'll be February 19th. That's virtual. And then as a follow-up to that, to bring folks together in person on February 25th, in our Columbia office, we're going to be having another brainstorming session, but that will be in person. So if you would be interested in just learning more about hub and spoke programs, interested in learning about organics management, and then also just interested in connecting with other people across the state for maybe that partnership building, then those would be some good meetings to try to attend. And then let's see, I think Savannah, I'm not sure if Savannah will be able to get on the line, but Savannah is again our hub and she's going to be helping with our hub and spoke development as well as some organics, but her main focus is at Don't Waste Food SC program, and she's hoping to try to do an event in the middle of this year that would be focused on kind of the official launch of our Don't Waste Food South Carolina Ambassador Program. So companies can join that, but also like local residents, you can be an individual or as a community group. And so that is something we're hoping to have an ambassador in every county through their county program to be a part of that program. Excuse me. And then Kayla, I was gonna let you kind of speak about maybe the LEPC meetings as well as your fire database.
Yeah, so recently we've been going to more LEPC meetings, meeting with emergency personnel and leaders in that field. We have a lot of community stakeholders attend those meetings, so it's a really good opportunity to discuss battery safety and connect with those leaders who are kind of interacting with lithium-ion battery fires. So with that being said, we're talking with community fire departments, the state fire marshal, and county coordinators, such as who I'm assuming is in the room right now, and trying to get some more specific data on lithium-ion battery fires or just battery fires in general. We know it's kind of hard to determine the specific type of source for the fire, but if you have any estimates or quotes, that would be really appreciated. It's really interesting to see, especially like the cost data, and especially like the time, because we know that battery fires can last for many hours. So keeping track of that for the future, that would be really appreciated. I'm creating kind of a state database. So anytime you submit any fire instances, I'll document that. And that'll be going towards maybe helping, put in place some legislation and really exposing kind of the truth to people. Like, I don't think really many people understand that fires happen at landfills and at recycling centers and things like that. So just having the public have access to that data will be really helpful for kind of spreading our message there.
Yeah, and Kayla, you have sent that out to folks, or are you still developing that? I couldn't remember.
I have sent out the template for like if you want to start keeping track or go back through your records from 2025. But once the database is more full with the numbers other people have sent to me, I'll send that out as well.
Okay, sounds good. So if you have not received that, please feel free to let Kayla know. Or I think you'll have my email, but I can connect you to Kayla to get that resource available. So again, it's going to be, I don't think that there is like a US wide database or a statewide database. And so we're just trying to be forerunners in that. And if y'all could assist in any way, we would appreciate it. And then I think we actually, we came to Spartanburg County and Allison and I did a presentation for about Be Battery Smart with their LAPC group. So if you all have any groups within your areas that you feel like would be beneficial to get some battery safety information out, again, Kayla would be a good resource for that. Another thing to mention is that talking about meetings, so we are going to be having our annual workshop in the middle of October. I think it's going to be October 21st through 22nd. Let me look that up really quickly. So if y'all want to go ahead and put that on your calendars, that would be great. There's also the CRA conference, which is going to be occurring March 16th. Yeah, March 16th through 19th. If you would be interested in attending, that is going to be in Myrtle Beach this year. And if you do have some professional development funds, those will be those could go towards attending that conference. But yeah, so our annual workshop is going to be October 21st through 22nd this year. So if you want to go ahead and mark your calendars. Another date to keep in mind too is that March 15th is the deadline that we have to publish our solid waste management annual report. That is an annual report that is going to be containing all the recycling data that you have provided us. So that will be coming out soon. Let's see, the other thing I wanted to mention, and Richard kind of talked about this, is that if you all have any events that are upcoming, please let us know. So I know there's some Earth Day events that are coming up, but there are also some spring cleanup events for household hazardous waste. We can document that or kind of broadcast that on our website as well as our Recycle Here SC app. And that is pushed out to all the states. So if you all have any events, please let us know, or if there are any changes to your contacts or your hours of operations or the types of materials, please let us know that as well. And we can make sure that our our resources are as up to date as possible, so it doesn't cause any headaches for y'all in terms of what people are bringing to your sites.
I also want to say that if you are having, during like Earth Day, if you're having an event and you would like to have one of our mascots there, please let us know because they do fill up quickly. Just be aware of that.
So you will see Can Guy at York County already. They were on top of it. So
we have several of them. So
all right. So with that said, I'm gonna give the floor to Woody. Woody, we only have a few more minutes. So if you want to do like a 5-minute summary of just kind of tires.
Okay. Yeah, but the tires, a couple points. One, I think there's a lot of potential with for a regional approach to tire recycling. So keep that in mind as you go through discussions today. When you grind a tire down, you reduce the volume by 75%. So that leads itself to much more efficient transportation. And so if we can kind of take a regional approach with that in mind, we may be able to come up with a successful program there. As far as there was on the tire fee situation, this would affect the counties, I guess. We had a law change in the middle of 2025 that kind of affected the funds that come to the counties for tire recycling. They're getting more money now than they used to, but it's kind of hard to project what your revenues from the park revenue will be for the rest of this year, the coming year, because they just did a refund. And so it kind of threw the numbers out of whack. The numbers were already new because of the system. So it's just going to be very hard to project what your revenues for FY26 are going to be, which also makes it hard for you to project on your waste application for the grant, how much money you might need. So I just bring that up, make you aware of that situation. There's we're getting ready to start a work group. So with the changes to the law, there are a few things that need to be changed in the regulation as well. A lot of the things that were in the law, involve fees, a number of different things that aren't really in the current regulation and probably don't need to be in the regulation. So the scope of what changes that are needed in the entire reg now is basically changes to the waste tire hauler registration process. There's some manifesting requirements that were mentioned in the law that we may or may not make any changes on. It gives us the option to go to an electronic manifest if we want to. So that's probably something that this regulation work group would look at. And then there's some language about violations and penalties and capacity exceedance for facilities that are in the law that may or may not need to go into the regulation. And then I also think because of this opportunity with mobile tire grinders, we may see something like that suggested or changed in the tire reg as well. So want to keep those in mind. And then also the state's been in need of more tire recycling facilities. When you have so few facilities in the state, your transportation costs go up to the roof because county to county, you don't know how, it's different as far as how far they have to drive to get those tires in the processor. So if we can get more processors in the state, one, you got more competition in the marketplace. Hopefully it'll help control the rising costs. It'll help bring down the cost of transportation. We've had at least one new processor that was permitted in the last year. And speaking with them on the phone last week, I think they have two facilities, if I'm not mistaken. One I know you mentioned St. Matthews, and maybe one in Columbia near Bluff Road. So that that'll be a big help moving forward. And so that's really the only thing I wanted to make you aware of on the tire front. And I was going to mention electronic recycling. There's a new electronic recycler in Chesterfield County that I heard about. I don't know if it's open yet, but they're coming. It's a Canadian company. They have other facilities in the U.S. that are R2 certified, which is something that we stress here in South Carolina. So it could be another option for you in terms of electronic recycling in the near future. So that's pretty much all I've got. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Oh, rubber modified asphalt? Yeah. So we see rubber modified asphalt as a great opportunity for the counties to use the tires that we generate in South Carolina, put them on the roads, and make rubber modified asphalt is a great product because of this new what they call dry mix process for paving, it's, it's very competitive in terms of price. Part of the issue that I saw coming is that the rubber micronized powder that's used in making rubber modified asphalt is produced in other states. Some's produced in Georgia, some's produced in North Carolina, Tennessee. We didn't really have any processor here in South Carolina that's making this micronized rubber powder. Well, this new processor that I mentioned, that's one of the things they're going to be making. And so what we would like to see is the counties start using more rubber modified asphalt, or at least doing the research on a webinar I was on a couple of weeks ago. Got to speak with or got to hear Dr. Lyons with South Carolina Department of Transportation. They've got the specs now for rubber modified asphalt. They've been doing the research. They're saying they're all behind it, ready to go. So if it's something you want to look into, we certainly would encourage it. And if you have any questions or need any of that type of data, or whatever, just let me know.
All right, thank you, Woody. And then it does look like Savannah was able to join on. So Savannah, if you just want to introduce yourself really quickly, I let them know that we will be probably doing a Don't Waste Food Ambassador event in the middle of the year, but feel free to just hop on and say hi.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Savannah. I run our Don't Waste Food SC program, and I also manage our college grants. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you guys today, but yes, like Graceland said, we plan to have an ambassador event, and also a food waste summit as well. So we're in the process of planning those, and we'll release more information later. But also for ambassadors, I've been sending out kind of like a monthly update email for those guys. And then we also have some new swag items coming in as well. So look forward to that.
All right, thank you, Savannah. And also talking about a newsletter, I think Savannah sent out a newsletter to all of the counties, which is going to be the first of Richard. How often do you plan to send these out? Is it every month?
It's like a need to know basis.
Need to know. Okay.
I'm wondering, did anyone or everyone get one? It was just an introduction to the e-newsletter. Did anybody get one or comment? Or did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you want me to stop? Anything?
Savannah, when did you send it out?
It was called the Recycle Right Review, and the first part of it was asking for battery information. Let's see.
You did. Okay. Okay. So we have a few folks who are shaking their heads that they received it.
Okay.
If
it was just the 9th.
The 9th. Okay. But
I
if
did
y'all
get some kickback, but
okay. Yeah, and that's one thing that if y'all have any employee changes, please let us know, because we do have it where we end up losing contacts to the counties and cities. But if you would like to be added on to that newsletter, please let us know. We can, whenever we do send it out, we can put y'all on the list. So thank you, both Richard and Savannah. Before we move on, does anybody have any questions from our office? I know that was a lot of information, but are there any questions on what we shared?
I also want to point out that we do have a market price directory. If you would like to be added to that list, please let me or Grace Ann know. I send it out every 2 weeks.
Yes. All right. Well, if there aren't any questions, I know we had a few people sneak in, so I want to let them just introduce themselves really quickly, and then we'll start opening the floor for each of y'all to kind of share more about your individual programs. So, Erin, you want to?
Hey, I'm Erin.
I'm Robert Guy, and I work for Recycling Just Care.
Nice. And I think, was there one more person? There we go.
I'm now Rob, I'm Public Works Director.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. And I think that means that everybody's here that's supposed to be here. So that's great. Well, if y'all look at your agenda, you should on the very back of the agenda see that there are some questions that I have that I was hoping that we could kind of cover as we are participating today. And so I think for the next, let's see how many. Yes, up until 11:40, we have a little more than an hour and yeah, an hour and a half to kind of go over these questions and have them be a way for us to just kind of get to know each other's programs a little bit more. So I was going to, let's see, Rose, I'll put you on the spot again. Would you be willing to get us started off and we can kind of go around the room and just kind of go through these and talk a little bit more about what you are dealing with?
We have, I guess, about 46,000 population. We don't have any curbside for county. We do all on 7 convenience centers. We do our own hauling. We haul our recyclables to Sunoco. We just started with a fee on the taxes per year, $38, and it is crazy. You would think that we are charging $1 million. We are getting loads after loads. I mean, it's really hard for us to keep up now. I've got 4 trucks, 2 full-time drivers, a couple will come from dump truck drivers, and get in my 2 spare trucks. We've had to stop using one landfill in Kershaw. I think it is Mineral Mind, because they're charging per item that has anything with a spring in it, $20. So we're having to haul all of our brown goods to her, which is the C&D, almost in Society Hill. So we've got a center in Pageland and one in Jefferson. So one of my guys that works those 2 centers a day, he's hauling, or he's traveling about 300 miles a day, just for brown goods. We don't take any C&D. We didn't take it before we started charging. Our county council used to support us really well. But over the past few years, that's not working out. They're wanting to bring stuff that we're not taking, and then cut up like a flat tire when we tell them that we can't take it. We did break down and take some a couple weeks ago. One of them brought a trailer load in and it filled up our whole entire 30-yard container. Just one load. We're open 3 days a week. They want us to open 6 days a week. We can't do that charging $38 a year. So that's some of my struggles right now. Any help anybody can give me is really good.
And let's see. Are there any items that y'all are kind of really struggling to manage? Like specific items?
No, not really. Like I said, we try not to take any C&D. If we get a call and they've got something, then, we just try to direct them to, somewhere else. We're getting a lot of trash at the gates because we're not open more. To the point where we've got to have it moved before any cars can, come in to drop anything.
Did y'all write tickets for that, man?
Not yet, but
We have an ordinance officer, he writes tickets, $200.
Go through trash,
He
get
just
the
does
address,
that.
name, and
Well, see, that would come from our local sheriff's department. And they really don't have a whole lot of time.
you know what, see, I always work for the county,
Yeah.
ordinance officer. but it's just,
Oh.
it's just for that.
Okay.
It don't come from the sheriff's office. Hey, like, I can get in touch with Miss Erin, she might give you some. ideas.
Yeah.
It does help the monies.
Yeah, and do you guys have like a security system there, Rose, or like a
And I've
camera
got
system?
cameras.
Mhm.
I've got cameras at 6 sites. 3 of the most busier sites. We've tried to, catch them or
Mhm.
whatever. But just not having a whole lot of luck.
Yeah. Mhm.
So there really not any repercussions to it at all, and it's just typically taking it all away.
Have any of y'all faced a similar? It sounds like maybe maybe Chester County has had to deal with some things, but y'all have a system in place for
It
you.
was funded on a holiday one time, and, I guess the first guy said his bag outside the gate,
Mhm.
so we got 3 pickup loads full, and I think he wrote 20-something tickets.
Oh,
So we can hook you up with this guy, he might be leaving. We got through the trash to get the name out of it, and, but we are in the process of getting there. It is,
Yeah.
but it's worth it, you know what I'm saying? Even picking it up on side of the road by the trash.
We do the same thing.
The,
$38 per year just for recycling, or does that include solid waste also?
And what you can take it to. I mean, we see some come 6 times a day. I don't know where the stuff's coming from. And like the Page one, we're getting a lot of the North Carolina trash, because it's right there on the lawn.
and so y'all will collect, or like will allow folks from North Carolina?
We
to
don't
come?
know, I mean,
no.
we don't. They've mentioned maybe stickers or something to go on the cars.
Mhm.
I mean, especially at that site,
Mhm.
because it's so close to the North Carolina line. I mean, we've got signs and stuff up that say, no out-of-state trash.
Mhm.
The attendants try to check the, tags when they come in, but, they'll say, well, I work in North Carolina, but I live in South Carolina, so, then it's holding the line up, because then they, we want to see your driver's license, and you got a line out the,
Yeah.
out the fence already.
Mhm.
And then like talking earlier about a county council member, we had to take it the next week. And then there's a couple of other people that are dropping that brought something similar last week. And our attendant said, we can't take that. You need to take it such and such. And they're over there disposing other stuff. And then he, the county council member's grandson is filling up a 30-yard container of the same stuff he brought last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So, and if you do it for one, you got to do it for all. I mean,
Mhm.
we can't break the rules for one, even though, that's who we work for, and I want to say, y'all should set an example, so it's kind of losing battle.
when the lady, which, they different if you're talking about. But she said it was such a comfort, confront the people and the people all upset.
Yeah.
She said it's
Watch you.
Yeah, and she said that,
Yeah, so being.
yeah. I asked her, I said, so what do you do with the constipation? She said, we just let them dump it and go.
And that's what if they start cussing.
Yeah,
You just let them go.
that's right. So I don't know what the solution to that is, but
So similar to what you're talking about with the trash ordinance and things like that. So, 2019, we started putting, 2018, 2019, we started putting up cameras at our centers. Most cost-effective thing we could find was like Reolink off of Amazon. So we just started budgeting, $300 a center, and we started doing that. Once we have an issue with someone who doesn't follow county ordinance or policy that a center, the way our ordinance is written, it's just like litter laws and things like that, they can be fined.
right.
So once we receive that with video surveillance and stuff like that, we just turn that over to our code enforcement and they go. And we kind of do it more for an education purpose. We're not trying to put people in jail and stuff. We tell our attendants, you can't be the code enforcer. You can, however, professionally communicate what our policy and stuff is. Once they do not comply, we turn it over to them. And then depending on how they act to our sheriff's officer, that our code enforcement officer, been a few that went to jail.
Yeah.
And then there's some that we just get educated.
Right.
So fortunately now we've also found a way of putting Wi-Fi at each one of the centers so we can actually see ours live. Just point, I don't know if anybody, what services you have. AT&T has FirstNet and things like that. But they also have a service where you can buy what's called a router box, a Netgear router box. It costs $20 a month per center to put them on unlimited Wi-Fi. So our cameras are live. They're able to clock in and out, all of those things. And at $20 a year per center, it's not a lot when you are able to pay attention to what's going on and things of that nature. So those are some of the things we've done, and it took us 4 years to get them all done, but we've got them all 16 now have cameras.
And so is one person like, you said it was a Ring camera or?
Reolink.
Reolink.
DVR with, and you can get as many cameras as you want with the system. You can also get Wi-Fi camera as well. You can get multi-views and things like that. And, you don't have to just buy one particular thing, but the system for like $300 came with 4 cameras. And they are wired, those are, and then you have the Wi-Fi ones and things like that for some of the larger centers, but they're very cost effective. And then, like I said, if your county has services, it's $20. It only cost me $20, and the Reolink or the Netgear router was $1. AT&T runs promotions all the time, so the router was only $1 for us to purchase.
Yeah, and Rose, you're not alone as you're hearing. We actually had Richland County tell us about how like they've had guns drawn on them and different things. So, it's safety is a big priority and people get very passionate about their trash. Well, I guess Aaron and Chester, if y'all want to go ahead and start sharing.
It's there to do this.
Drop off as far as county is concerned. We have 11 sites. Special collection events is a semi-annual time hazardous waste day. And the last one we had brought in 226 cars, biggest one we've had since, or thus far. So we collect at all of our sites, we collect OCC, single stream, glass, batteries, and if anybody has any help with lithium, great. Aluminum, and of course, the waste oil, thick and oil increase. The ag armor as well. We also have an issue with contamination of the oil filters. And we have stickered it up, signaged it up, talked to the attendants about it, and they're really watching it. We're still having issues, so if there's anything, suggestion that I give, we'd love that too. And then as far as any issues, lithium e-waste are our biggest, at least on the recycling side. We were part clearinghouse, we are not as of now. So we're kind of looking around to see what's gonna be best for us as far as e-waste at the convenience sites plus the landfill. We worked with Southern Environmental, it just wasn't working, for the county's end of it. And then another struggle is just, older equipment that breaks down, hard to maintain. I think the equipment is the original equipment, so we're working with it, and definitely time to.
Do y'all do the cargo single or do y'all do coupling or what?
We used to come in with the hour to keep it in the center. We're almost like cutting their. I mean, they're not getting. I think, before when we were cutting them, we had a lot more participation. Now it's not a convenience.
Right.
Because they're having to say.
Right. So they put it in trash.
So, we try to, we try to educate, a lot of them, some of them, they just don't want break the box. No plastic bags or anything, and, I mean, some people just act like it's a short, in this side.
So you don't bail the cargo.
No, we just follow straight.
Right. And you do the last.
We do not take lights.
Okay. We don't start, I got a buddy like that.
Wait, so Rose, we all, since you all are just drop off, like people aren't willing to, you were saying that you originally had it all, everything commingled, and now that it's separate, people are not really willing to.
I've noticed that our numbers have dropped.
Okay.
Because we just, I guess, the last 2 years, started with, separating everything. And when I, check the numbers and stuff.
Okay. And is that, like, in terms of, I guess, everything's on the site itself where you would have to go and separate it, it's just people are wanting to be lazy? Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Well, luckily at the sites where we've got our OCC broke down, in compactors, and it's compactors, so, they don't have to break down the whole long line. The participation's been really good, their feedback's been good, so.
And we just got open shop, consumer stores.
Right.
Well, she has found someone that, we haul Sunoco like $750, and if we can do cardboard alone, he'll haul it for $225 and pay us stuff. But see, if you're in Pageland, I don't know if we'll travel that far, but
Patience.
I know how that. We will, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And then I guess, Erin, what seems to be going well with y'all's program?
So definitely, like I said, that OCC breakdown's been really good. We've also had a great social media person for the county that's really kind of like staying on top of recycling and giving updates and kind of listening to me there how that, has been benefiting the feedback. And even as far as like, we'll talk about the landscape diversion. So I think it's really the education and awareness is really what's helping Chester. I feel like they've been really kind of far behind in it. And now we've got some fresh eyes on it and, stuff going on. It's helping out a lot. And then.
And I love this. Been here 38 years, I've had 6 bosses in 5 years. And I promise y'all, it is clean as I've ever seen it, and she's been here, what, 6 months? We had the state inspector come up and inspect our sites. He was having trouble finding stuff. It is just shining, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a blessing. We're gonna learn to write the grants now, you know.
That's a deal.
That's right.
As far as wins,
I don't know.
What you add?
What'd you say?
let's go over your perspective, as far as like land.
Well, it's basically like you said. I mean, just, like you said, they're putting it out on the website and stuff and getting it more to the public and letting them know what we got going on to keep it clean. Been trying to regulate a little bit more on what they're bringing in and out of the landfills as well. That's been working a little bit better. Yeah.
Things in it. Work to get in, work in the past. So we kind of got it.
Yeah, it was,
We just had.
it had been written up a little bit there before I started, and I've been there 9 months now, and we kept it in. Yeah.
Was that due to a battery? Or
No, due to other stuff. It was lightning struck it. And it got it going, yeah. It lit the whole working face up. So. We got it contained and we did get our expansion finally. So that's a good thing. Started a new working phase, got all that contained and pretty much closed off.
I guess we'll move to both Thomas and oh my goodness, and Robert for sharing a little bit more about the landfill side. So thank you, Aaron, for providing us with some good information.
Well, we do collect by, Republic Services, what we use. They bring into the landfill. We have a transfer station at Seaton. Republic picks up all our county coming in. Haven't really had any items removed yet or added anything. The only issues I've had lately has been that fire and equipment. Not like she said, trying to get some new equipment in there. Don't have really everything I need to be able to move the dirt to keep the. I've been having to hire out contractors to get it done. So, trying to get away from that. Other than that, we cleaned it up a good bit. When I came in, it was a mess. Stuff wasn't being covered like it was supposed to, or compacted, and things like that. But we got a new compactor and everything's running pretty smooth.
Well, we own the landfill. We was watching a webinar the other day, and I believe it said you could charge $150 for tires on the policy and $400 on the ordinance. What's the difference? What's the difference in the ordinance and the policy?
Yeah, so the ordinance basically would be, your county council, whatever passed the ordinance, it'd be on the books that you don't accept tires from retailers. And if you go that route, then if the retailer does show up with loaded tires, you can charge the higher $400 per ton. Without that, you could, you can still charge $150 a ton.
Yeah.
Now, before you couldn't charge anything. But it's kind of county by county, how much, what their situation is, how much they need to charge.
So that'd be like the retailers. I got you.
Yeah, retailer tires. Some counties don't want to deal with the tires at all, you know, and so the best way to get out of it is to charge an exorbitant fee, you know, and you're gonna bring it to, you're gonna pay, you know, this much to do it.
That's right.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing, but yeah, without the ordinance, then you can have it in your policy, but you can't charge like $400 private accident fee. You can only charge $150. Now, and that's assuming the tires have the documentation, you know, that the tire fee is being paid. If they're undocumented tires, then you can charge up to $400 a ton.
I feel like the higher fees. Which people don't think we do stream cleanups in Fort Mill. And they pull dozens of tires
Yeah.
out in the stream.
Well, yeah, because if you know, that's the ugly side of it, is that, you know, you increase your tire fee and they can't bring them to the landfill or don't want to pay that a ton, then yeah, they're gonna end up somewhere. So
Yeah, and so do like mom and pop's stores or, you know, that do your tires and all. So the ones that bring to me or bring to us, they act like they're oblivious to the new tire changes. So are they oblivious to it? Or are they not doing what they're supposed to do because they don't know? Or
possibly,
because I've had several tell me that, you know, if we start charging this, then we're gonna have to pick them up off this dirt road because that's where they're gonna go.
yeah, there's no no education campaign as far as DES concerned that we're doing. Tire manufacturers, I don't know. Same way with the used tire
Right.
retailers, because you know, they're required now to pay into this program, this $10 fee. But
Right.
if they don't also sell new tires, you know,
Yeah.
along with the used tires, and they may not know. I try to reach out to somebody, you know, some of the used tire retailers buy their tire from used tire wholesalers.
Right.
And there's not many of those out there. So I try to reach out to some of those type companies to say, hey, you know, let the used tire retailers know about this fee and what they need to get registered with Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue, you know, they put some notices on their site. They sent out notices to their, what you call account holders, giving you pay that fee to the Department of Revenue, you have an account and stuff.
Right, and so it should show up on there.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I've got one that brings me the ST39 and tells me he doesn't know, he really does know.
Yeah, if he's got ST390,
Yeah.
yeah, he could at least be notified from Department of Revenue about the change. I don't know, I haven't been there lately, but I know when the law went into effect, when they first started paying the new fee structure took place, you know, July 1st was the first time. Well, you got the July receipts that would have been paid in August.
Right, yeah.
Because the law requires, it gives them 20 days. So it has to be paid monthly now. It used to, it had to be paid monthly. So, so your July fees have to be paid by August of 20. So same way with the quarter, if you got July, August, September, the first quarter, then those fees would be finalized, paid by October. Yeah.
You might ask another question.
Yep.
Is there anyone in here that's got at the convenience sites, like you can't bring but 6 bags, 8 bags, 10 bags, or is it just wide open? You do have limits?
It's equivalent to a 4x6 truck bed, whether it's on a trailer and a truck bed. And then for construction demolition, it's half of a 4x6 truck bed or equivalent. Now that's perceptive. You know, we try to take a couch
Right.
but not a couch and a love seat. We try to take a love seat and a recliner, which is equivalent to a couch. Refrigerators and white goods, you know, again, there's some exception.
Right.
So through the level, but in general, try to limit it to 4x6.
Yep.
We turn them away and send them to the landfill. We take a maximum of 4 passenger tires per day, and then a mattress box screen or 2 mattresses, max that we can keep it up.
And do you feel like people follow that pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, they complain some, and, you know, it is something we had to go to, but you know, with the growth of the county and the size of these centers, and we had to do something. We physically couldn't keep up with it, and filling up an open top box is not the answer. Which we try to explain it as, you know, we're trying to provide a service to all residents, and, you know, it hurts you when you take too much at one time because you can't move it fast enough.
Do y'all have issues with people trying to go around to different convenience centers and you know, take 2 mattresses to one place, 2 mattresses to another place?
So
And
once
to
they
try
come
it?
in overloaded, we don't accept anything. We can't unload app or any of those things, and it's for that reason. To try to prevent them from just going to center to center.
And it's in this one, kind of out on the radio.
Okay.
Free description,
Okay.
so they don't try to do there.
Yeah.
It's kind of everywhere.
I didn't know if y'all had like a record keeping system, like a computer system or record keeping system to prevent that.
One of the things when we instituted out load limit is that we started when people would call asking them, are you a resident of your county? Because as much as we love our Lancaster County and our North Carolina County and Chester County and Cherokee County, as much as we love you all, we try to protect the tax dollars that are being paid by York County residents. And so that's what we explain there is we're doing it because the centers are funded through taxes of York County residents. So that's one of the things that we had to start doing is saying, are you a York County resident? Well, Indian Lane. You know, so we refer them back to their county and just explain why. And if someone calls and says that they're new to the area, we will ask them if they have changed their license tag, you know, if they're from out of state, and if not, we'll explain that they may be asked for proof of residence. And that can be, you know, a water bill, a power bill, whatever they choose to give us proof of residence.
Yep. Let's see, Chester, you'll have anything else you'd like to share? No? All right, well, I just looking at the agenda, I think we were gonna do a break around this time. So if anybody wants to go use the bathroom really quickly, we can do that. Or there's coffee and water in the back, thanks to York County. And then let's take maybe like a 5-minute break and then we can get back and start with York, if that sounds good.
I'm good with you doing apartment.
Where's your phone? I'm trying to get something. Sure, I am getting it. Get everyone out. Hey, so I got to do this fast. And I'm like, oh, we got it. Yeah, it's on thing. This is not even getting it. Yeah, it's generally. Something not going to become an issue. Not every student. If we make well, I can remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
And y'all be. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But you seem too strong for one the other side. Okay, that's okay, but that's not fine, no problem. Pretty good, pretty good. So great. Doing okay? Yeah, you're back in my back. Okay, I'm here. All right. Be good, safe, you know.
But isn't it?
Yes, good, long time. All right, call me if you need me, okay? All right, bye-bye.
Yes, the video. Just like. You from down there, we're all back. Every time I turn my music on, Chesterfield have made it, you know what I'm saying? In fact, we were thinking about voting Chesterfield out of state.
Yeah, we can't seem to catch a break.
They all got to run, by each other.
Yeah, but you know, they give it to some.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. If it ain't sheriff's department, it's animal control.
I know.
The animal shelter or, you know, somebody.
We're on the channel. It's all going on.
Yeah.
We're talking about having stuffed up noses. Dominoes? Oh, stuffed up noses.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Alex.
Has to be excused. I got another meeting. But it was good though. Well, this is good. And I like the time not for the newsletter.
Make sure.
Oh,
I know.
Too.
Let me make sure that I have your email address correct.
And they're that right. We're doing our budget time. And I got to meet with the vote.
Oh, well, you gotta go make sure you do that. Okay, and then at,
And they're that right. That Fairfield.
okay,
That is the go.
st.gov. Okay, I'll make sure that you get on that newsletter then.
We had a problem with stickers. We give out stickers too. And we don't have a landfill, so we take everything. We don't know what they put in the cans or nothing.
Yeah.
The stickers that we had, somebody made a duplicate of, selling them for $5. And all our recycling centers on county line, like, Lightwood, Kershaw, Chester, Newberry, got 11 recycling for all of them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of trouble trying to stop even that. Especially contractors. Yeah. There's a lot of contractors, what they do is go out of town to do works. And they grab the trash back. You can't think. I mean, only way to stop it is if I'm riding. And then I call them like and tell them to turn in trouble. The only way you can stop it.
Well,
we don't have a nurse to, we've got a transfer station.
okay, just the transfer.
And Drew do all our hauling. I can tell you this, Drew. Plastic, you take it to Snowco.
Okay.
We haul it ourselves. And as far as the work is like, Sunoco brought us a 53-foot tray. And we picking up like the lady at like at the drop off centers. Up in top. Take it to the van, like call it like they build and put it in the trailer, and when it gets here, no goes back in.
Okay.
And Titus, I don't know where 6 times. Yeah. But this meeting is good. I enjoy it. I got to go.
Just like.
Okay. Do that.
Yeah.
You got my number.
For doing.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah.
Oh, Allison Blackman. Yeah, she had to leave. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like Richard also has to step off really quickly.
All right, you all, we can go ahead and get started again.
Yep. You said something about starting with the slide if you wanna
Okay.
switch the.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was gonna have the folks kind of continue going a little bit longer and then come back to it. That's okay.
I was gonna. But.
Okay, thanks. All right, so we're gonna have our host, York County, kind of go through sharing a little bit more about their program. We did have Fairfield, and I think Spartanburg had to head out, but I'm gonna get some information from them a little bit later, and then we'll end with you guys over here. York County, if y'all want to, well, do you have a present? Would it be better to show a presentation?
Whatever you want to do, I mean,
Or maybe we could let's end with y'all, and we can have this side of the room kind of start. Okay. So Tim, I'll let you guys start with City of Rock Hill.
Okay. So we service about 23,000 residential customers. We have about 1,600 commercial customers in the service. Main collection is curbside for residential, but we do have drop off located for electronics and waste oil. We probably have about a 49% participation in the residential recycling program. The city collects it itself, so we don't contract out. We do bring our residential recycling to York County, so we work closely with them as far as the items that we can take. Currently, we're taking paper, cans, plastic bottles, jugs and jars, chipboard and cardboard. And then our commercial cardboard, we actually take to Pratt Recycling over on Rock Hill. Let's see. We also take white goods, so resident can schedule a collection for metal, so we'll do that weekly also. And then we do have staffing issues currently, trying to fill any positions in sanitation. Things like the younger generation just doesn't want to do this type of work that we go through regularly here lately. And our contamination levels are pretty low because we do it with 18-gallon bins, Kirby's. So our employees still sort it on site. So we're able to control the stuff that we bring to the MRF. Some of the issues, we still get glass in the bins that we have to leave. Or put the normal, styrofoam boxes in the cardboard, so then we can't like that. But for the most part, I would say one of our biggest requests from the customers is they want to do roll cart recycling. And then we noticed back in 2018, we did get a grant. So we have about 2,500 customers with roll carts. And in the beginning of that, we had a lot of contamination. People were cutting up plastic storage buildings because they had a triangle on it, putting it in the bin. So the ones that we do have that have the roll cards, we've been able to educate them good enough to do that. But to go fully whole cart recycling, I think the contamination rate just go up.
Mhm.
Outrageous. The city's always looking for grants and opportunities to do that, but the cost of buying the containers and then changing all the trucks out would be a big concern for council and budgeting and things of that nature.
Just to add on to what I'm saying, some of the things that I think that we do well, but that we continue to enhance, it's just the educational piece. We do a lot of promotional postcards, things like that, social media posts, all of that sort of thing. We even have the phone tree to where there's changes or things like that that we can, you know, provide outreach, get in touch with the customers, let them know kind of what's going on. I do think that those things are all beneficial, but sometimes when you look at the contamination, look at some of the other issues, we can tag things as often as we would like, but sometimes you just have the recurring issues. You have to figure out the why. What else can you do? Done the education there, but then you know you also have neighborhoods to where there's a lot of rentals, so people may be in and out. So it's that re-education piece. Trying to track that, stay on top of all of those things, to make sure that people are aware of the practices, policy, procedures. Make sure that, hey, when they're recycling and doing what they do, that they're doing it how we need them to in these instances. But then just looking for opportunities, grants, other things that we can do, to be of service to the residents.
Have y'all ever worked with the recycling partnership?
We have,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, we've applied for some grants and we've actually, we got one, but we didn't accept it because the end result on the amount that we would have to put in to do that was not feasible.
Okay. And you were saying that as of right now, how many folks or I guess like residents have the roller containers for
It's
recurring?
probably about 2,500.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Right. And then in terms of like reaching out to the rental complexes, how has that been? Because I think kind of around the state that's going to be a growing issue. So have y'all found any successful routes for, I guess, like staying on top of educating those types of facilities?
Yes, and then the information for companies to do.
Mhm.
I just think that a lot of information. And also with our door hangers and stuff, we do that bilingual. Validation too. Making sure they understand it.
We send those digital pieces out, like said, to the ownership, things like that, to make sure they have.
Yeah, I know York County is definitely growing, well, especially like all the upstate region is definitely growing. And so that's something I feel like as a state we're going to need to be focusing on is the multifamily housing, because there's missed opportunities there that could potentially be a good way of collecting material, but I think it needs a lot of work. So didn't know if you all had any good experience with it. Mhm.
Biggest thing is control. You have to have a man.
Yeah. Yeah. Have some type of investment in it if possible. Beth Ann, do you have anything else you want to add?
I was just gonna say, I'm not effective at educating. They go through a lot of them.
Mhm.
So it, like I said, it's two-sided, so it's either.
Mhm. Nice, nice. Well, it's good to hit different populations of people too. And then I guess Fort Mill.
There are no communities that we know, so we have the 95 gallons on ours. And apartment communities and some townhome communities, it's just 2 times in there for trucks to get in and for trash cart and the recycling cart. We do get the recycling cart return. Sometimes with the smaller homes, even in the driveway. Don't want them. So we do curbside, waste pro contracts with us to do that, and they bring material out here, and one of the problems within their airport, and we were having a big problem with contamination, and they were taking it straight to traffic. Fees and things like that, so we're trying to get that turned back around. So that come out here and bring it where it's supposed to go. Maybe that's 5 minutes, a lot more. I guess before it was like, I don't know if it was stricter or environments are getting better. So we did get more education through the defect. And we got a lot of flyers created through your graphic designer, magnets that are to summarize everything, which people tend to like, pick those up at our events and things. And that just basically we're just collecting what your county can collect, the paper cardboard, cans, bottles and jar plastic, and then that's getting better, but it's still people burning anything with the triangle. And we do get people who seem to use the recycling cart as a second trash cart, because we charge another trash collection fee for a second cart, but they're circumventing that, so we see potted plants and car seats and just craziest thing, and people either don't care, just want to get rid of stuff. I don't know. But the education can be difficult. Manpower is an issue. Getting stuff like directly handed out. So we try to go through HOAs and send email copies of our information, get them to distribute to their residents, things like that. So I think that's helped a lot. And I've noticed that the centers, I drop off at the centers, and us seem to people finally get the idea. I don't see a lot of the clamshell containers thing. That's me. That's one of our things is we're not the end user. We don't have revenue at all from that. And I think we need to raise our fees. Waste Pro provides the carts. They don't charge us for the carts. They charge per cart that they dump. So it's like, not quite $5 yet per month per cart. And we recycle twice a month or every other week. And just the cost is high for us.
But you said they provide the bins.
They provide the bins. They drop off to us. Our people deliver them when we get new customers, and then they dump the bins, haul the waste, so we're paying them the hauling, the dumping, and then the fees here at the front. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to kind of hear the challenges that the cities face versus the counties. They are one and the same sometimes, but slightly different. All right. And then let's see. And I wanted to give Victor the floor just to kind of share a little bit. So we are all based in the Columbia office, so kind of the headquarters office of CDES, but Victor is located in the Lancaster office, or Florence office, sorry. There were some other folks that were going to come from Lancaster, but from Florence. And so, but we do have some folks in Lancaster. And so I like to say the regional offices are kind of, they're the hand and the feet of DES. So he's going out and doing a lot of the inspections. And so I wanted to give him the floor a little bit just to share.
So, as said earlier, I'm got 5 counties, sports, Gilman, Marion, Monroe, Chesterfield counties. I have 6 landfills that I inspect monthly. They have 40 inspections. I have biannual inspections, annual inspections.
annual inspections usually are landfills are closed now, or these can be compost facilities, biannual meet, and I guess you'd say, construction and demolition recycling facilities. And, once again, annuals would be like the class 2 and 3, which is construction debris, class 2 and other things, items. And the class 3 landfills would be like household garbage and waste. And the 6 I do monthly are class 2. I don't have any class 3s in there. I have inspected some of the class 3s. So with class 2s, like I said, construction and demolition debris would be, they would have the class 3 would be household waste. Composters would be like tree limbs and things like that that come in from cities and things like that. Cities gather it up. And so that would answer the first question. That's kind of the background of what I do. And it's the way it's collected with the public, bring it to the landfills and private individuals, bring it to the businesses, bring it to landfills. Usually construction companies bring the construction, demolition and recycling items to the CDR recycling. Some of the challenges we have are illegal landfills and landfills near houses, because you get complaints and stuff like that. And another things, some landfills kind of start running out of space. That's a challenge. We have fires and landfills, things like that. And some of the things that are going well is like getting cooperation out of the landfill managers and good communication and things like that. So that's kind of an overview.
Thanks. And so for us in the regional offices, Victor and some of the other folks would be kind of be the umbrella, I guess, of just solid waste in general. So our office, as Richard was saying, it's non-regulatory, non-enforcement, non-compliance. But if you do have any questions and you need someone both in our office, we have folks who would be dealing more with like the regulatory side of the landfills or like recycling or composting. So Justin Kuhn would be a good contact for that. But in the regional offices, we have folks who are going to actually be the ones coming out and doing the inspection. So we wanted to make sure that if you haven't had a chance to put faces to names that you may hear kind of coming out to your facilities, we were hoping to bring some of those folks out today. So if y'all have any questions for Victor, he probably would, at least on the regulatory side, he would be able to answer those a lot more than what we could with our team. But have y'all, I guess, Victor, for you, when you have been interacting with some of those other counties, which not everybody has been able to join us today from them, from the recycling side, have you seen any challenges that haven't been mentioned today that you think would be good to highlight?
CDR. They is where they handle most of that. I'm kind of yeah, I can't even think of it.
Okay. Well, I hope it's been a little more enlightening for you to hear some of the things that these folks get to face on a daily basis. I guess before we move on and let York take the floor, does all of what has been shared today, does it kind of ring a bell? It sounds like everybody has been kind of struggling with similar things. And, just from doing our regional meetings, this isn't new to us anymore in terms of some of the challenges that y'all are facing. And so if there are ways in which we can get you connected with other folks who may not just be in your region, but across the state, we would be glad to do that so that y'all can feel like you have a good brainstorming partner in that. I guess York, would you all like to go ahead and kind of get started? And we can do the presentation, and if there are any questions that y'all don't answer, then we can have some of your other all your teammates kind of discuss too. All right, Savannah, I'm going to, oh, there you go. You may not be on speaker anymore.
Today, and I'm just going to go over, we have probably a much bigger presentation put together than we needed. And we want you to have time to go around and look at the facility. So we can share the presentation with Grace Ann and she can email it out to everyone. But I'm Leslie Hatchell and I've been with the county since back in the old days. I've been with the county for 31 years next month or in May. And so I've been here to see a lot of good things happen and a lot of hard things happen. And we're really happy to have you and hopefully down the road we'll be able to work together. Not certain whether that'll be able to happen, but if so, we'll do what we can. So we are Division of Public Works and we have 16 collection and recycling centers that our division operates and maintains. And our division has 30 full-time employees, 91 part-time employees, which are the people who work out at the collection and recycling centers. The material recovery facility, 20 contract employees are needed here, along with the 5 that are included in our full-time employees to operate this facility. And then the Keep York County Beautiful Board, which Allison is over, it's the Keep America Beautiful affiliate. And so this just shows where our centers are located. I don't know what you all had when you first started with your program, but when I first came here, we had green box sites, over 100 green box sites. And the collection and recycling centers had started, and those centers, those sites on the roadside were being closed down. And the last site that opened was the Baxter Collection and Recycling Center, which operated kind of as a green box site or as a formal green box site. We had a fence around it and it had a building, but it was not paved and it just had some boxes out there. But thankfully, we were able to go ahead and start manning that facility before it was actually renovated and turned into an official site. Those material recovery facility is where you're located today. And this site, we take recycling from the 60 collection recycling centers, the city of Rock Hill, the town of Fort Mill, and some small private haulers. Unfortunately, we had 2 communities in our county recently who did away with curbside recycling. The city of York and the town of Clover both did away with curbside. So now we have more people that are going to our collection recycling centers. I'm one of those. I've lived in York since '93, had curbside recycling. All of a sudden, I'm taking my stuff. And so we also collect all of the recycling, our division does, from all county-owned buildings. The schools in Fort Mill, Clover, and York. And so this building opened in 2018, this facility did, and the total cost was $8.4 million. And this funding was provided through a bond referendum that was passed in November of 2015. That was for multiple capital projects that the county was doing. And so you can see the breakdown between equipment, construction, and the architect, and the building size is 39,291 square feet. This facility has the ability or the capability of processing 10 to 15,000 tons annually or 10 tons per hour. And we're currently operating 3 days a week. So we're nowhere near capacity, which that's good, because prior to this facility opening, we, and it was not funny, but we had to laugh because it was sad, but we had this huge mound of recycling out on the ground that we were bringing in. All the recycling was coming in and it was being shipped out on trucks to a recycling facility because it was more than we could do. Because
where you see this concrete pad, there was a building there that on that pad, that was considered our recycling facility at that time. It was so out of date and it was just a big hot mess, honestly, safety wise and a variety of other things. But we were doing the best we could. And thankfully we're able to do that until this facility opened. So in order to bring material to this facility, if you're not part of York County government, for example, like the city of Rock Hill and the town of Fort Mill and these small haulers, we ask them to please only bring materials that we accept. And they are charged a $50 per ton tipping fee. And that was passed via ordinance. There's also an agreement form that they have to sign at the beginning of them bringing material to us. And then as Jeanette mentioned, the loads that come in are graded. And if the load happens to be 20% or more contamination, and that's a visual and a sound observation, because you can hear glass hit the floor. You might not be able to see it necessarily because it's broken, but visually, if we can see a lot of contamination, David's staff then will rank those. And if it's 20% or more, the entity receives another additional $50 per ton special processing fee. And the material, I think Stephen has said maybe 3 loads since we've opened have actually had to be scooped up and taken to the landfill. The material is still processed. It just takes a lot more than it would had it been a clean load. And that's our goal here, is to provide our vendors that we work with the cleanest, best quality product possible, because otherwise if we send out contaminated loads, then we're going to have vendors or markets telling us we can't take your stuff. So this gives you a little background on what has been recycled or processed here. The first column shows what was actually processed here at the material recovery facility, and that would be mixed paper, chipboard, steel cans, aluminum cans, pans, foil, plastic bottles, jugs, and jars. And then the additional items are other items that we take at the centers that are not processed necessarily in this building, but maybe on the property around, that you'll get to see in just a little bit. So it just shows how our tonnage has increased, even though we've lost a few curbside programs. And it didn't increase a whole lot this year, but it did increase. So that's good. That's where we're trying to head. I'll get Stephen to come give live footage of the MRF in just a minute, but I just wanted to mention before we do that is that we are a potential hub and spoke for glass. We were taking glass from entities a long time ago because DES gave us a grant to build the glass pad that we have, which has been renovated recently. You see the photo there, and you'll get to see it in person in just a little bit. But this shows the glass that we've taken in. Cherokee County still brings glass to us. And so before we report these numbers to DES for our annual report, we deduct what Cherokee County brings. But Spartanburg County used to bring glass to us along with Milliken, and the city of TGK recycled glass for a while.
What calls Spartanburg and Milliken to stop?
I'm not certain. Maybe they found a vendor. I don't know. And it could be it was prohibitive cost-wise to get it here. But and Lancaster County used to bring glass to us. And I think they had a lot of problems in Lancaster with contamination, because they would bring loads that had like plate glass windows and things that were not accepted.
And who all are y'all using as a vendor?
Sabelco.
Where are they located?
Either in Greensboro or Atlanta.
It's being collected here.
And yeah, they just new company name. So you want to do the live cameras?
Yeah, I can do that if your sheets are running on here first.
Right, say just the it's like some of those families. It's not like
yeah.
that information may not be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, because a lot of the people who were there probably don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you wanted that information for when we walk around.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things I was gonna
Okay.
kind of add on here, which the groups kind of dropped off, but, just kind of going through the list, population wise, we serve over 300,000 residents in York County now. I think the latest number was 302 something, that we were given. As she said, we have 16 drop-off link, locations. To give you an idea of what those locations look like, we have 95 active compactors at those 16 collection centers and over 80 open top boxes as well. We service those with 9 drivers and 1 lead driver. So they are fairly large centers. We do 2 household hazardous material and shredding events a year. We added shredding 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I think we were very close. Our last event in October was right at 600 vehicles that came through our event. Knock on wood, with the exception of collection center attendance, we have kind of jumped over the hurdle of staffing issues. We've had a really good ability to retain staffing over the last few years. And that's a testament to our leadership staff and administrative staff. It's really been nice.
What would you say has made people stay?
We talk about culture a lot amongst our leadership group, and just kind of course, some of the pay did increase a few years ago. I'm not gonna lie. But just we do speak on culture on the group, and I think our culture amongst our staff is they get along very well. We've focused on putting the right people in the right places, and my motto was surround yourself with people that make you successful, and I think the group has done very well doing that.
Have y'all done like in terms of building that team camaraderie? Has it just kind of been more of a natural fit, or have it all had to be like team building things? What has that looked like?
Some of the things that we do for operational leadership, we kind of just kind of meet off site every once in a while and do a few things. There's been a lot of training that we've put ourselves through, and but the majority of it is just kind of communicating the operational challenges and stuff that we have, and instead of decision making is going through 1 or 2 people, it's a collective group. I think that's the biggest thing, but the other part, and I think one of your successes at Chester County, and this is an opinion, is it's important. We make sure that what we do is important. We physically, like I bring my recycling to the MRF a lot of times so people see me doing it. We make it a point to mention that to our drivers and our staff, our maintenance guys, make it important. The thing that I think held you all back a few years ago, because I met the director at the time, is he didn't believe in it. And when you don't believe in it and you don't show importance to it, it's not important to everybody else. So that was one of the things that we've talked about. And I think that's one of the positives there is now that people are actually there to believe in it, follow through with it. So that's just one of the things, some of the things that we've done. We collect at our centers. I think she showed a lot of this: MSW, bulky, scrap, white goods, oil filters, antifreeze, light bulbs, electronics, OCC, mixed recycling. We do separate OCC, but we do have 3 centers currently that we mix everything. We have the ability to separate it at the MRF and for transport needs and trying to ensure that we can service the centers. We needed to mix it to reduce freight costs. So there are 3 centers where our cardboard and mixed recycling are collected together. We do paint, batteries. It's a wide range of things. And then one of the things we did to combat the open top was added in what's called small bulky compactors. Anything office chair smaller and really recliner or smaller. It's compressed in a compactor box now. We went from hauling 1.5 ton boxes to 4 and 5 ton boxes. Doing that just to combat the growth. None of our items have been removed. We've talked about it. We're not there yet. And as far as adding anything to our program, we do want to be a hub and spoke for glass. In our county strategic plan and division strategic plan, we want to grow this MRF. So we are actively communicating and looking at ways to expand what we're able to accept here. Specifically speaking, probably what is collected at collection centers like Chester, Lancaster County, but not out of some of the curbside. As far as challenges, our challenge is the growth versus the size of our sites. Where we are currently remodeling pretty much 1 collection center a year and trying to add capacity because we are at capacity at 75% of our centers. So capacity is one of those things. Ordinances, as far as taking from out of county, is another one. And then the way our funds are collected is through a special tax district. So the unincorporated areas of the county pay into what we are able to do with the centers. And 2, like Clover and York, has canceled their recycling program. The city of TBK did theirs a few years ago. So as entities are going away from a lot of their programs, it's falling back on the county. And there are no funds collected through the incorporated areas. So while we accept from all residents in the county, the centers themselves are only funded through that special tax district. So it is putting us in a situation financially. The other side of it is, although recycling is increasing, the programs that have canceled, so to speak, those areas did not grow in recycling. So what we're losing through those programs, we're not getting back from citizens going to our centers. So like when York and Clover, those areas cancel their program, we're not seeing the same or even close, less than 10% growth in those areas at our centers. So when we lose those programs, we lose that material. Contamination levels here at the center is only at about 17%. So it's under the 20% threshold. Fortville has made drastic improvements in their program. City of Rock Hill, if I may, their material almost comes in perfect. But I think it's the way it's collected. And kudos to that, because it is operationally a lot more expensive to do it. However, when I say perfect, it is almost perfect. Very nice.
And that would probably be due to the fact that y'all are sorting at the curb.
We use vendors like Pratt, Unify, Envision, SRG, Southeast Recycling Group, Liberty. For our tires, Savelco, Powerhouse. We do participate in the clearinghouse. MRM is our managing partner there, and they use Pedal Point in Atlanta. But all of our other electronics go to Powerhouse Recycling. If you've never been there, it is a place to go see. It is very, very nice. We talked about storage being very limited. The funding we talked about, and then, we did say something about new limits and things like that. We see an average of 16,000 citizens a day at our collection centers. And that's based on the traffic study that was done last year. As far as we talked about the glass hub, we do have approval to move forward with that. There is no cost for tipping fees for glass, but there is also no return, to someone that is bringing glass here. And we can provide you those numbers fairly easy with a report annually, or however you need it, whatever, for glass.
And then you would get a ticket, we come, there's only a white ticket. So each time, so you want to keep up with that here.
Yeah, could you speak a little bit more to the, like, what, in terms of setting up a hub and spoke for glass, what that would be logistically looking like for others?
Yeah, so right now with like Cherokee County comes in, so we collect glass at our site. So we don't accept it through our curbside program. I'll be able to show you a lot more information why, but basically once the glass breaks, it gets onto any and everything. So it contaminates your OCC, paper, plastics, any of that nature. And we have the inability to catch those things before they get into the machine and break. So that's part of that. But we collect it at our collection centers. It is sorted by clear, blue, green, and then brown. One of the neat things about Sabelco now is they do have a lot of optics and things like that at their facility that allows them to sort glass. So we'll talk kind of how this looks. We prefer not to take in mixed. We prefer it to continue to be sorted. However, Sabelco has discussed with us, and it is something that we can look into if it is still commingled colors, how we can accept it and things. We are set up. We have a bid for commingled and have been doing some stuff off of our line. One of the things we did do is we don't promote it, but we do try to grab as much glass as we can and stuff from the curbside. So we've been able to collect a little more tonnage. Ironically, probably 2.5 to 3 tons a week. That is still in our curbside deliveries that we don't hope to get, but we are still recovering it. But they would basically have an account here with us. It would be at no charge. It would come in, weigh in. They would dump in the prospective areas down in the glass pile, and then weigh out and leave. Fairly simple process of doing it. And then our staff basically crushes it or whatever and loads it out onto high sides and things from there. I'm not gonna lie, we do get a little bit of money for glass, but that's basically offsetting our operational cost of managing that program. And honestly, it's a lot of weight that goes back into your goals very quickly. Glass is it's one of the easiest things to collect, and you get your most weight off of a item as well.
Question, Steve. How is it when we do our co-man, we can put glass and stuff in there with carbon? How do they separate it, Sunoco, do you know?
I'm not familiar with their line. However, the 3 MRFs that I have visited all have the exact same problem. It goes into a fines box. And depending on contamination in fines, Sabelco is taking some of that, but it is a cost because they're actually having to separate out the contamination. And then there are some equipment opportunities that will allow your fines to be separated. It is through shakers and things like that where they can sort the glass out. Again, looking at that technology is not something that
See, I was just compact. So, I mean, I guess it would be compact in the glass up in the cardboard. I just wondering how they would.
or either because Pratt, has communicated and at one time sent out emails a few years ago about some glass contamination. Wasn't even sure where it was coming from, but we have to pay close attention to that.
It'd be good to go to Pratt, for a tour and be able to find that out.
Well.
Yeah. And, I don't know if this was mentioned, but at our centers, we collect glass in designated containers, and it's a roll box that has baffles in it.
I was curious, how does that get sorted out? Is that whole community dumped in the space in the bins?
And it's the baffles or the doors, like they dump like one color, and then they open the next door, dump the next door.
So we can show you, I think we have. We may have a box outside that we can kind of show you that. Just to kind of, but they have pins behind the baffles that separate those sections. So these are live cameras of our material recovery facility. I can blow these up one by one, but to kind of show you what we have, this is our tipping floors. So the far side there with the the concrete blocks are there. That's our single stream side. So when your curbside comes in, it's dumped on that floor there, and we use a skid steer to load our line. That's where your trucks would back in. They are graded. It is on electronic form now. And like I said, from what we're getting, contamination rates are way low today compared to what they were when we first started up. That machine then it goes up to what's called our pre-sort station. So this is where we do try to pull off as much of the contamination as possible. So we get a lot of bags, we get you name it. I mean, we've seen little remote control cars or even kids' toys, swimming pools, and once an animal. Probably the funniest video we have is a skunk got on the line one time and did a little something there. But this is also where we would pull out our glass. Any glass that comes through, we do try to collect it. So once at the end of that pre-sort station, it goes to a piece of equipment that's just above where the cursor is there. It's called our OCC separator. And it's got a set of discs where the OCC and some chipboard and things like that go over top, and you can kind of see a belt there where that sorted OCC now is. Underneath is another set of discs. They're a lot smaller. Your plastics, bottle jugs, jars, aluminum cans, steel cans, things like that, along with your mixed paper, go onto another conveyor belt. And then on this side is where our fines box is. We ask everyone keep their caps on their plastic bottles and things like that because that is sorted at our vendors. But anything basically 2 inches in diameter and smaller goes into a fines box. So we lose the ability to recycle those items. At the end of that first line and then we call this our fiber line. If it'll pull up, is we have a ballistics separator, which is here. It uses a paddle system to sort out our mixed paper, and then you can see that coming off the end of the line there. And then our containers, plastics, aluminum and steel cans go across the line to our container line. And you can see the belt there in the middle. One thing I didn't touch on, and I'll go back to on our tipping floors, is the one closest to us is our cardboard. So what we bring in cardboard compactor wise gets dropped there, and that center belt that's on the floor right here is actually our baler belt that runs straight to our baler. So sorted cardboard does not have to run through the machine. Unfortunately, our optical sorter camera is down, but we'll show you that when we go up on the mezzanine. But the first thing it does is goes to our optical sorter where PET is sorted out using a piece of equipment. And then it goes across our manual sorting line here, where we pull out the balance of our PET, our HDP, color, and natural. And then we pull the rest of our fiber that does get across off at the end of this line. Inside of this yellow cage here is a magnet conveyor that picks up all the steel cans and sorts out the steel cans. And then on the end of the line is the eddy current machine where our aluminum cans are sorted. All of that is either stored, it either drops to the floor, which here you can see the cardboard and the mixed paper on the floor, or it goes into bins, sorted out in bins. So we have our aluminum cans, even though it's on the end of the line on the right, it actually comes across a vacuum system all the way to the first area here. And we have PET, HDP, color, natural, and then our fiber. These are hydraulic doors that open up when you want to bale. That conveyor will take it to a baler, and then it uses a dual ram baler to bale out that material, where we store or load onto trucks for shipment. Because of the amount of material that we have, we fortunately have the ability to load straight onto trailers with cardboard, mixed paper, and then you can kind of see some of the electronics that we store for pedal point and things like that. But we do have trailers on site for steel cans, aluminum cans, and then paper and cardboard, where we're just pulling off of docks and loading them up, and then they swap trailers almost on a daily basis for paper and cardboard.
So for the fines box, does that mainly include like plastic parts, or is that also including like small pieces of paper?
Yeah, so shredded paper would not make it through the sorting. Plastics, like I said, glass, especially broken glass and things like that, would end up in the fines box. We've had one fire inside of the MRF, which really wasn't a fire. It was smoldering. When glass breaks and goes through that system, it actually heats up. So you have to be careful. But with the dirt and contamination and stuff like that that gets in there, it kind of smolders more than truly burns, so to speak. So glass can create a hazard if you're not careful with it.
And have y'all had any issues with lithium?
We've had 4 lithium battery fires in our scrap metal pile. Fortunately for us, we load out scrap metal on a daily basis on high sides. So the amount of material that's actually at our site at one time is very small. And we've been able to handle those very well, very easy. But it is an issue that we still see. Our tenants do a fairly good job of educating the public, but we do have things that slip through. But we've had 4 in the lab, basically, and it all happened in the last year.
And were they in items that you wouldn't have expected them to have been?
No, one was, I mean, mostly one was a bicycle, battery powered bicycle. One was like little Jeep, a vacuum cleaner, and then the other one was a scooter or something like that.
All the time, one minute, so things that happen. Everything you get nowadays, it has, like Lucas. So those are things that the attendants are asking them to set aside in a special place for recycling and the small items.
Yeah.
And trying to get the word out. Don't throw that out there.
Yeah. So for Riverside, I did see that you all are doing rechargeable batteries. So is it more of they just leave the item behind, or are you having them take
In that case, I'm just leaving the item with the battery. Most times they say you can't get a battery out.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that you all may have had experience with or questions about are bags.
Yeah.
That's another item that we can get down in general.
They are very expensive. Unfortunately, that is probably one of the most expensive items now that we're starting to see come through our hazardous material because of the fluid, not the battery.
That's the day.
There is at the CRA conference, the like first day, I guess Monday, they're planning to have a household hazardous waste council session, and they're calling it vexing baits because it has become such a big issue. But there's not much guidance out there right now yet on what to do. So, how are you all going about, I guess, collecting and disposing of them right now?
Of the batteries,
Or of the vapes?
of the vapes, we only collect them during our hazardous event.
Okay.
And then we're working with what's now is Republic, actually comes on site to do those events. So they manage all of our chemical table and everything of that nature during the event. Hauls out during the day. We do offer once a month an appointment only for things like death in a family and, having to clean out someone's home. Somebody who's not going to be able to be in an event, they can call and request an appointment. And every third Thursday of the month, we do a collection that morning.
As in going to their.
No, they come
Or they
to
come,
us.
okay. And then I guess the question before we actually go out and see this, the question I have for those who are in the room who aren't York County, since it sounds like glass is something that they would be willing to take, is that something that you all would be interested in trying to find? Well, maybe there's already contributing, but I guess I'll turn over to the.
Yes, to an extent, okay, yes.
And do y'all have any other items? I know for us, we are having a bigger push for composting and organics. Is that something kind of further down that you would be interested in doing as well? Or I know like you all were saying that capacity wise, you'll are almost at capacity at least your convenience centers, but just kind of getting an idea of other, since that is a bigger focus of ours, is that something that y'all would be able to do or be interested in doing?
Would definitely be interested in composting. Okay. I mean, hearts and composting and vermin composting, so anything like that would be amazing, and especially, as far as like there is food waste, bring that on board next. Of course, I would come with the education and awareness, but
yeah,
we'll get it there.
Okay. That encompass the food focused and work on the larger scale and household composting.
My niece lives in Boston and they do their first item.
Yeah.
Not sure the details.
Yeah, so in South Carolina, there are only 3 places right now. Well, actually, in the 4th one that's coming on board. So Greenville County, Warren County, and Charleston have had programs that have been working for the past few years. And those are the ones that on Thursday of this week, they're going to be highlighting. And then Beaufort County ended up getting a really big grant from, I think, the FDA or Department of Ag, I can't remember, where they have this year started doing their composting program. So a lot of it's more of, looking at what it sounds like and what we're going to be hearing from those 3 counties is kind of how they got their programs up and running in the first place. That we have been working with Lexington County for potentially setting up a program. And for them, what we have seen is it's like looking at your facility and or facilities and seeing do you have a space for it? And then also like with that space, there has to come in some of the permitting and regulation side, which that would be working with Justin Kuhn, who is our kind of, what's his official title?
Permitting manager.
Yeah, permitting manager. So working with his team to actually get permitted to make sure that, you know, there's not going to be contamination outside of that, like concrete pad where you would be doing the, concrete or I guess like, soil-based area. And then trying to line it up with like a hauler, figuring out, okay, is it going to be your county that's going to be the transporter of that material, or is it partnering with a hauler? I think Smart Recycling or Denali, they're now Denali, is I think one of the only haulers in South Carolina for food waste material. So trying to work with a hauler that you would be contracting out to take that material around. And then figuring out, okay, are you going to be collecting it at your convenience centers and kind of having an area where folks can bring it? So like, I think Horry County is doing that right now, and so is Greenville County, whereas Charleston County and I think Beaufort, they have it where it kind of random areas throughout the county, folks can end up getting trained, or excuse me, residents can get trained on what they can put in that bin, and then they're given a code. So there's like an actual padlock that those residents have a code to access the bins. So they can put them in different parts, kind of in more residential areas, so that it's less of a hassle for folks to get to a convenience center to drop off material. So it's kind of seeing, do you have the space, and then being strategic in how you're going to actually be collecting that type of material. So that's just kind of a quick overview. But in terms of, you know, like California, I think, and it sounds like Boston, they actually have the curbside, which in the long run would be like the most ideal situation, because it's going to mean that residents aren't having to like store food on their property for that long and then go around and try to like find a convenience center or a bin to place it in. Yeah, and that's kind of the other thing. I'm interested to hear, at least with like Charleston's program, how often they go around and collect their composting. I know we went and visited their facilities. I can't remember how often they said, but I mean, just thinking about the summers down there, it would not be fun to have to open those bids. Would have to be more than that, but
So I think one of the challenges here in this area is that we don't have a company, you know, that will take it, and we don't process or do yard. I mean, we take in yard debris at our landfill, but a company is hired to come in and chip that at a certain point, and then removes all the waste or the debris from the property. And I guess my question would be, what is the thought process on working with restaurants? Because to me, it seems like there would be a much bigger bang for your buck.
Yeah.
With people who are producing food commercially than those of us at home, and that we maybe should focus more on just backyard compost.
Right. Yeah, and I think what so I think Charleston has been doing the residential, but they're also, I think with all of it, they're all looking for like feedstocks essentially. And some of it's going to be limited in terms of, you know, going to your convenience centers. That's going to be maybe a little bit easier than going to different places who may have some flux. Savannah, I think Savannah, can you hear us? I may have stepped away from her computer. Savannah's been working with I think it was Smart Recycling, now it's Denali, who I think is like a more nationwide service. And so we're interested to see if that means that there are going to be maybe some more opportunities there, like throughout the state. But I think let's see, like Charleston, it's definitely more residential. I think there's Resoil, which is like an individual company in Columbia, and they're partnering more with like USC and some of the larger universities. I would love to see for restaurants that be the case. I mean, from a business, I mean, since I'm doing the smart business side, that would be helping with some numbers there. I just don't know. I don't know why some of the counties who have already like started up, why they're not focusing on restaurants yet. It may just be that in the coming years, once their programs are kind of up and running a little bit more, and they have more established relationships, that they would get into that. But I think that's definitely something that would be needed in the end, and it would be a more consistent.
I guess I have a hard time believing that, I'm not saying that I don't believe that we throw away food from our homes, but it seems to me like more of it will be coming from commercial.
Yeah.
Than from households.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't disagree with you that some of the bottom line, it collecting business, because they don't have commercial accounts, like if they're down in municipality, does not have.
Yeah.
That's a whole number, they could say, how long is it
Mhm.
going to ask, if they're trying to keep them working on processing market, take my too.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you guys have any more thoughts? I feel like I was kind of floundering with the explanation, but I think Richard may have a little bit better an idea. Leslie, were y'all planning to participate in the meeting on February 19th?
I got it found on them.
Okay. I can send it out again, but yeah, if you would mind asking that question, I think that would be a really good one to.
Because those areas where we do not have composting facilities, I mean, like Horry County has a composting facility, correct? The county.
Yes, they do.
And I think Charleston does.
Yeah, so Greenville, Horry, and Charleston, and then Beaufort is setting up one.
And
yeah,
but they have like where they are composting their yard debris, correct?
yes, it's like yard debris and then food waste that they're getting. Yeah, and it's not just food waste from residential. There's food waste from maybe some businesses already, just not.
And then what
not
I
as
know, Joe, is that there's a guy in South Carolina that he owns a company that he's actually taking food from manufacturers, maybe out of date or was packaged wrong. And somehow it goes through this piece of equipment that it like squeezes the food out of it, and at the end it's got the jar and the paper from the cardboard.
Yeah, that one's in Aiken.
Okay.
So let's see, Resoil is like an industrial or I guess a private one, not through a county. So that one's in Elgin. And Resoil is owned by, I think, the same company that does BioGel. And he's based in Aiken. And so I think Resoil takes like some of the fluid that's from that and uses it in their composting mixture. And then there's also something called like purebred compost that's also in Aiken, but it's more for like they're working with a lot of the horse culture there to compost the material that comes out of them. So, and then I think a lot of like yard waste. So I don't think that they're doing as much of a like a food scrap program. But we're all, unfortunately, none of our teammates are composting experts. And so are you? I know you're
compost friends.
Well, Woody may be the one that we throw out to everybody, but in terms of, we don't have like a person devoted just to composting, and so that's kind of where Savannah, Richard, and I are going to be working together with the Hub and Spoke to, since we are wanting to focus on the food waste side, try to get information out there so that y'all can, make decisions, like more educated decisions on whether or not that's something that you could do. So I'm really looking forward to Thursday to learn as well with y'all along about, how folks have been able to set up their programs.
Schools seem like they would also be a place here.
Yeah, and hospitals, and I know Richard, yeah, like prisons, like Richard has, we've, Lexington County is interested in setting up a program, and they've like talked about partnering with USC as well as with like, the prison that's there. So it's just, you know, trying to find who's willing, and then once they're willing, how the logistics need to play out in the end. I think that's just kind of what we're struggling with right now. So, but with that said, thank you all so much for sharing so much about your programs and for giving us more insight into some of the things that y'all are facing in terms of challenges, but also what you feel you're doing well. I want to make sure that we have enough time to go and kind of see things up close since we were able to see them through a camera. But before we do start moving around, do y'all have any other questions?
Or just what about that's really not feasible for the solid waste. I know a lot of countries.
South Carolina has a limit on the tonnage per day that incinerators can take. And it pretty much just makes it not economically feasible to do it. It's like 600 tons a day or something like that. No, it's a, you know, capacity limit, but apparently that amount, less than that, is just not economically feasible for incinerators to operate in South Carolina.
Yeah, there are a lot of businesses, like when we get data back for the Smart Business Recycling Report, there are multiple businesses who will do incineration to waste, or excuse me, incineration to energy.
Everybody, you're welcome to a tote bag and those who are, those, and the information about and QR codes. There are QR codes in your packet on this mail that we did every day mail. And the majority of the stuff that we're showing you that is promotional items or ways that we promote our program are through grant funds. So I encourage through grant funds over time to really build up this education program. But come back on April 18th here to this facility from 10 to 2 for our free birthday dinner. It's a lot of fun. It's free. The parking will be next door at the church, and there'll be a lot of agencies here on hand to do activities, kids and families, and so we'd love for y'all to come back for a visit to the family. And that way, on the QR codes, there is one that's to videos that we have and to our app called Recycling Right account. And those videos are welcome to use that show the operation here. There's like a 3-minute, 1.5 minute, and there's some 30-second ones that you're welcome to use those.
They're great. I use them in a lot of my educational things.
Very fortunate to be able to do those. And you can look around at the brackets here in this building. We got a grant, a $125,000 grant. It was a solid road grant. But so the grant funds were used to do all the grants in this building downstairs now. So we CES is paying and funding is touches everything pretty much new there. And so we're really fortunate for that. And over the years, it's added up. I mean, so and to do something with a grant, a lot of times it's easier to get in your county budget. That's what we like. And so, because once you prove that it's worthy, or that the residents want it, and that's how we started our household hazardous material program, and it's still a $50,000 grant. And once you do this, residents will not let you quit. So, just want to share that information before we go upstairs.
quickly, for plastic bag recycling, what we were doing with mixed trash, so collecting, we had a bunch of cinnamon around town and take the, and was accepting the enforcement. They changed that program, you used to get 1,000 pounds a bag, you get a bench. And now it's your first 250 pounds, you get $100 prize, and then you go into a drawing nationwide for 25 possibilities of getting some kind of item that's like, oh, those are just worth all the trouble. So you just underneath this plastic bag recycling is too much.
We tried here and we used to give out bags for people bringing recycling us, and we had to stop that because, you know, the vendors that we would send our material to was being contaminated. Also, bags are considered tanglers that wrap around the equipment. And so, you know, we would encourage you to encourage people to not use bags, but to use a reusable bag. That program was great in the beginning, but I know logistically it's a lot of work for whoever's doing it, you know, in the ground level, like from your perspective. And I know Clean Green has participated in that a long time, and maybe went through. And the benefit of getting the bench is great, but if they changed it, you know, anybody can take their stuff back to a retailer.
Right. We're encouraging that just take it out, go to the store.
Right.
And that's just something that's I would say on my experience, whether it's specialty items, even though it's the same specialty, but when it's beyond or standard mixed recycling. There will be programs out there that's great thrown in it. They change their brain. It's just like St. Jude taking the cars with the kids and they didn't take us anymore. They changed how much you can send or they start forming shipping and that kind of thing. That and a lot of the programs are special materials like to they start off being fundraisers and then they don't want to get money for them anymore and then it's fundraising. So that's the downside to special projects recycling and the contamination side of types of plastic.
Right. Well, and when we were getting our bags, we were bailing those bags after they were opened and materials stored. But there's the issue of having enough for a tractor trailer load, and if we store it until we get enough, and then you have it sitting outside, it's wet. And also it breaks in the light. And if you don't have concrete to set it on, then it's for gravel when they pick it up. And so, you know, there were just multiple issues, and we just could not keep a vendor that, you know, was reliable. And that's the way that we've always decided on what we will accept is being sure that that's your market.
Mm.
Yeah. So, or I mean,
It's a realistic answer. So
yeah.
well, should we leave stuff in here and then pick it up at the very end? Okay.
And I think our